Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Little Bit Day channel. Hello, how's everybody in the world? Today, tonight, afternoon, in your time. So, mega love shout out to my brother Ryan. Hello Ryan, thank you for coming. So I forgot, to use my headset. Hold on. So for those wants to join later on, before I say hello to everyone, I would like to, I will post the link, and for those ones interested to join and share your thoughts about, the context, okay, feel free. So today I will do a little weather forecast and USD dollar rates here in the Philippines. So the weather here is today is Monday, March 23rd, 8 p.m. So it's here. It's not really hot. It's 26 Celsius. Okay, so it's not rainy. It's not sunny. Just right. Okay, so that's almost to summer season here because in a few days it's gonna be end of March. So by April, in a few days, the Pag-asa, that's the weather forecast here in the Philippines, will announce the official summer season. Okay, and then the USD rates here is 60.15. So when you go to the bank, that is just like that. So you might get something like 59, 59.20 or 59.40. So that's a good rates for for those USD earner. All right. So our context for today is husband obligated to give an allowance to his wife? That's a question mark. So we're not talking about, hi sis Amy, hello, thank you for coming. So that's context is for married, not for not for cohabitate, for married. All right, so we gonna discuss about that, and I will share about my thoughts and how I deal my married life when it comes to that. All right, so um, yeah. And we gonna base this, especially for those, Filipino and Western couple. So that's a very, very interesting topics that we can talk online because, some couple are not doing the same process. All right. So let's figure it out that later. All right. So make a love shout out to my members, to all my new subscribers who subscribed my channel, and to all my pioneer followers in Lilibet Tate channel. Thank you so much, guys, for always there, and especially when you watch some of my uploaded video. It doesn't really matter if that's short, uh, felt video and live streaming. Okay, So, Sis Amy, you can join with me for because as a Filipina, we can share that also that is a husband obligated to give allowance to his wife? So, what is your opinion about that? Okay, so hold on, guys. Let me post the link. Okay, there you go. So your volume is low. Okay. Thank you so much, Ronald. Okay, hold on. Let me check. Oh, oh yeah. Thank you for that. So how is it? I already, sometimes, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for reminding me for that. Sometimes I forgot things that, I have to check, like my audio. So how about my volume now? Is it okay? So feel free, guys. This is open panel, so anyone can get up to my studio. So you have to show your face first, okay? So this is not, so we're gonna talk this because this is a good, good topic. So how is it my volume now? So I try to put something like I'm gonna use, my other microphone, the wireless, but I try to figure it out where can I, plug that on my laptop. Oh, still low now. Here, if I gonna put my mic here on, it's still low. So, okay. Mm. So I think, okay. Oh, there you go. So I already removed, my headset. So how is the volume? Okay, good. So I think I need to, because the microphone here, so I have to hold that. So no need to use this because I'll have to hold that. So let me adjust my volume. Thank you so much, Ronald. Okay, there you go. So the peso getting weaker here in the Philippines because well, as common that they said that this the effect of war in Iran, Israel, and of course USA. And this is one thing that for those people it doesn't really matter because all over the world is affected of war right now. So please, buy stuff just right for your family. Don't make some panic buying, okay? Because if we're gonna do a panic buying, we give reason to those supermarket owner to raise the prices of the commodities. Okay, so just
just be just be mind you don't need to panic for that, okay? It's important that you have cash in your house. So if in case, okay, you move to the other places because your place is not safe, then you can buy food, okay? So you don't need to do a panic buying, because that's the reason why here in the Philippines a lot of supermarket owner advise for Filipinos, we don't need no need to panic uh, buying, okay? Because that's the reason why we give we give the supermarket owner to raise the prices of their items, especially when it comes to food. And here rice, there's increase of the rice. So for those, well, Filipino, we love to eat rice, but it's not as other country like China, Vietnam, and then Myanmar. Those three countries and Southeast Asia are more rice consumer than Philippines. So for me, I can eat, rice every day. I can eat rice, like I can make that into 3 times a week or twice. So no need to panic buying. And then of course, for other countries, okay, always save your money if in case, okay, if in case, like now that I can see that Iran, of course, they have planned to fight back with with the president, US president. So this is not like like Trump said, might 1 week, 10 days. That's the end of the war. But just like it reminds me of war between Russia and Ukraine. So how many years ago now? Okay, because this is one thing that when I watch, that's why sometimes it crushed my heart, because when it comes to war, there's a lot of civilian died, children. And I can see during the war in Ukraine, in Russia, in Israel, kids, baby died. Some kids are shaking about the fear of their lives. So it really, I stopped watching that, guys, because it really crushed my heart for that. So that's the problem, that civilian people are one victim for that. So now, how many? It's almost 1 month. It's almost 1 month, the war between between the Iran, Israel, and U.S. So we people, we must, like I mentioned a while ago, that we don't need to panic buying for that. All right, so if your government will tell you, okay, move that place because that place is not safe, like for American, because some in UAA, in Arab country, some of the US embassy was bombed. Okay, for those American citizen, once your president will tell you, in that place, leave that immediately. Okay, forget it, all the stuff that you have. Make sure bring your passport, and some documents that you're gonna show that you are American, and of course money. Okay, so you don't need to bring all your goods. When you buy something, like you're panic buying about the food, you cannot really bring that unless unless that you're gonna die for that. Okay, so always, because sometimes, we never think that. Okay, who think that what happened that. Okay, so it's not the fight of for Israeli people. It's not the fight of Iranian. It's not the fight of US or American. It's the fight for all of you, all of us, or in our country. So now that when I read about when I read, who's this? Hi, Cher. Hello. How are you? So I heard about the news that so I'm gonna share a little thoughts, a little knowledge about the war right now between USA, Iran, and Israel. So Russian government teach the Iran government the tactics how to use drones, because you don't now it's a modern in war, like when I watch old, like before before the World War II. Okay, those movies that I can, but it's not literally that happened. That is like they gave a visual. This is what happened during the World 1, during the World War II, but during the World 1, it's just like all soldiers that go like so, and then I watched that, and I said, and I visualize the situation. No reason why there's a lot of shoulder soldiers die for that, because they go in front. So now you don't need a boots on the grounds. Okay, no need. All you have to do is the new technology like drone. So that's a crazy, not crazy, that's a scary part. Okay, because we know Russia. Okay, so we're still, we people, we can also, we cannot really stop that if each country are so aggressive for doing that. Okay, sure. You can come up and share your thoughts about especially for those married, and what can you hear, what is your thoughts about especially for those married couple that like Filipino and then married to Westerners. All right, because this is one thing that um, it's kind of ridiculous stuff that my friend also asked me about that. And by the way, guys, I have health uh, tip tips for those like older people. If you're living in the condo, and then if you have your own swimming pool, sometimes when you reach age like 50, there's so many your gouts, it starts to aching, and sometimes your legs, it starts to is more cramps that often. I remember that I experienced that cramps that you know I almost to cry about that. It's so painful. So the good tips, guys, you don't need to swim, or if you can able to swim, you can swim. But the best thing that you can do is soak your body, just like water therapy. It helps. So you can do that, like 3 times a week or twice. If you're not busy, you can do that as like 3 times a week. It really helps, guys, for a water therapy, especially for those 50 up. Yeah, it works. Okay. I changed, my my banner. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's gonna start about this. Okay, so this is very common, that for Filipina married to a Western man, majority. Okay, I'm not saying all, majority of Filipina, they receive allowance for their husband. And some of my friend, they asked about that, is that the same also on me? And then I told them, no, it's not, because I'm not my husband's kid. Okay, because allowance is only for student, like you go to college, your parents give you allowance for that, because they're in control about the money that you spend. And for husband and wife, of course, your husband in money is your money, wife money is the husband money. So why I don't understand why that kind of agreement or mindset of husband giving a wife allowance for that, because you're not a kid, it's not your child. Okay, you're gonna send to school that you need to give an allowance. Your wife, you're supposedly a team. Okay, so that's and I when I look on the other side, why this Western men do that to their wife, giving allowance. Because here's my thought. And some, this is not a gossip, this is not making story, but this is real. Some Filipina, especially, I'm not putting this down, those Filipina living in the remote area or, in the countryside. But when it comes dealing money, they are not, they are not aware of that. Because in mindset of Filipino, okay, having a foreigner husband is a big deal. So they don't really think about what this Western men doing in their country. Because in Filipino mindset, particularly Filipinos living in the countryside, that Western people are rich. Okay? So, when it comes to money, they don't really think, especially if you're not aware of money management. They gonna ask money from the Western man. So this is one thing, guys, that it's so complicated, the situation. Because some men, okay, if they're really in love with that Filipina, they give everything, they are sent on their self to make that attention with Filipina. So that's the reason why they keep giving money until they become broke. So because they don't really uh, educate their partner that okay, we're couple, so we have to help with each other. So it's not the thing that I have money, then you still giving and giving to your wife, and your wife don't really think that okay, the situation, especially you're still working. So they never think that, because they think that Westerners are rich. Okay, so they're gonna spend money. So when it comes to dealing money, okay, and you give it the allowance, they just spend that. They never think how to save that, because number one, for those below average, less people, we are uh it's mandatory for ourselves. For me, that's my thoughts. It's mandatory for ourselves to save money. It doesn't really matter how much money you got, so you always save that, as no matter what, guys. Because that's common thing that most of less people, oh, how can they save that? This is the amount that they receive every week, every day, every week, every month. No, you must save, especially if you don't have that kind of money. So that's the reason why some of Westerners, I cannot really blame them, because they can see in their partner that they are not really aware how to manage the money. So that's the reason why they give they give that amount of money to their wife, because you can see if your wife is gonna spend, you're gonna end up broke, you're gonna end a lots of debts. Okay, so I think that's the reason why they give allowance. But supposedly, guys, supposedly, husband will not obligated to give allowance, because you're husband and wife. What's the use being a married and then you treated your wife as a kid or a student? So that's the important essence also, guys, that you have to know your partner first before you do that, because especially when it comes to dealing money, it's not easy, because like I said that there's so many women. I'm not talking about Filipino women, okay? They just want to spend money, but they are not, some, I'm not saying all, but some women are also knowledge when it comes to manage the money. And of course, they have concern also with their partner, because your husband's success is the wife's success. If the wife's success is the husband's success also. So sometimes in marriage life, husband and wife don't really think that. Like in the States, okay, majority, some women there, or majority of women, their money is their money. Husband money is their money. So where's the teamwork for that? So that's the reason also that some are end up, they have a lots of debts. And good thing that here in the Philippines, guys, we don't really have that. In the States, what do you call that? A credit bureau. So if your credit, like if you have what do you call that? Your record on your credit is not good, they will not let you. And then when you go for find rental, or rent, they will they will they will look at your credit record. But here in the Philippines, we don't really do that, because here, one thing I will share with you guys, this is what I experienced. So that time I really want to apply for a credit card. Okay, but the policy here for credit card is You have like example, some banks they have salary bracket. Okay, so like 25,000 to 50,000 a month. You can able to apply for the credit card, but you have not right away. You have to wait for for like a month. So they will check if you are legit working in that company. There is a credit investigation, CI, my goodness. Okay, so that's the time that they will call you and process your application for that. That's the first step. And then the second, you don't have to apply for that if the bank knows that you have big amount of money in their bank. They are the one who gonna apply for your credit card. And that's what happened to me. And then when they ask where's first they ask where's the fund came from, and what is your job, how you get that amount of money, those questions that is not really related for applying your credit card. You're gonna it's kind of annoying question, guys. So you don't really interested. So that time there's so many things that wait a minute, I'm here to apply my credit card, and then the question that you asked me is not really related to the things that I'm going to apply. And then I told them forget it. So you don't, sometimes you don't have to take that kind of BS, what the bank's dealing with you guys, especially here in the Philippines. Okay? You don't need to deal with that kind of BS. Tell to their face that, I'm not really hurry into that. Forget it. Shown sometimes, you have to show attitude to them, because if not, they keep treated you like you are you're nothing. So the one thing that some of the banks here, how they treated some depositors, they never think that, oh wait, without the money of the depositors you can work the bank. Okay, the bank will not pay you your salary. So you have to treat your clients or your depositor with professionalism and decency. But they don't do that. They think that depositor owe money from them, which is not. The bank owe money to all depositors. So sometimes, like I said, you don't need to take those BS in the bank. Okay. So now that's crazy. Okay, that's crazy here. When you put your money in the bank, even time deposit, just like about a percent one. No, it's not 1%, but that 1% interest rates, you can get that if the money that you're gonna deposit it about 1 million, because 1 million here is insured by the bank or PDIC. But if 500, half million, it's not. So you cannot put your money in the bank like 2 million is not insured. Just 1 million, guys. That's crazy policy. And then the 1%. But if your money is below 1 million, just like you get 0.27, 0.25%, it's very tiny, tiny, tiny interest. So here's the process. When you loan money in the bank, okay, how much they give interest for that? Bigger than the interest rates that they give in your money. So like in the credit card, guys, 30%. So to be honest with you guys, that time that they rediscovered that I have big amount of money in my bank. Oh, they're the one who applied that for me. And in here in the Philippines, every mall there's there's bank employees that they offer credit card. So if sometimes it's funny because when I saw there a good kind of freebies, so I'll go and take that offer just to get the previous, but I'm not really interested about using the credit card. How many credit card I have in my wallet? Six different banks here in the Philippines. So I don't use that. Why should I use that? I'm gonna pay 30% for that? No way. So I use, sometimes we use well Frank American Express. But usually when we do groceries or do shopping, we usually use cash. Credit card here is no good because how many percent? 30%. So that's the reason why, guys, especially here in the Philippines, that like some women, some Filipino wife, okay, they are experienced like because some of single mom, and then they married to a Western man. Before they get married, the Filipina experience of working in other country like here in Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, Taiwan, and some in Europe. Okay, so they have experience, what life in the other side of the world. So they are, they become like, okay, they know what they want to buy. Okay, so you cannot fall for that. Even, even in the province, guys, those women are very smart, guys. Don't think that they're very innocent when doing that for you, for especially for Western men. Okay, so don't think that because some women in the countryside, they save their a little money to buy a gadget for that so that they can able also to trend those what's going on in the social media or what's going on online. Okay, so don't think that they are, they are innocent, and especially don't fall for the angelic look or face. No, behind of that, there's a evil side of that. So anyway, that's happened. One of my friend, okay, this is not, one of my friend. I met that guy. Is a white American. So he came here in the Philippines, go to the province, and then he shown me the picture of the girl. Oh my God, very young. It's just like, spring chicken. She has the innocent look, the Filipina look, brown skin, soft and shiny, pretty. Even though me, I can tell, oh, that's a good one. Okay. So I'm gonna do a little story about that. Okay. That Filipina invite him to their hometown. Okay, hometown. And then he don't really think, okay, I have to be aware of my stuff, I have to be aware of my wallet, I have to be aware of my money. So there's a fiesta on that girl, just dating, because this is one thing, I'm not, I cannot blame, I cannot. Hi Vic, hello. So we're talking about, is the husband obligated to give allowance to his wife? So I'm gonna it's I'm gonna specific that here in the Philippines for those married couple, because usually some Western men, Westerners, they give allowance to their Filipino wife. Okay, so let me finish about the story. Okay, so the girl invite him for for their fiesta. Of course, they having fun. This American white guy. Drink some some beer. He feel tipsy for that. Okay, they slept together in the in the room that my friend uh, pay for that. Okay, and then he has a good life. He told me, oh my goodness, Lily, when I woke up, his expensive shade gone, his money is in wallet is gone, but good thing his credit card is still there. And then and then I told, I'm not, I'm not putting blame on him, because I told him before he came here, I told him that, okay, be careful about those women that you meet in the province. Okay, like I said, they are not innocent of doing something illegal. So, and then he told me, "Don't worry about that, Lily. I can handle that." So it's just like, I surprised one day that he sent me the picture in my WhatsApp, and and I call, he called me, and then what's going on? That's what happened to him. It's not funny, guys, but it's just like, oh my goodness. Please, American, beware, beware of the dog. So it's just like, I'm just, instead of, blaming him, and I told, I already told you, but I'm not putting blame on you. But it's okay. It's, a charge to experience about what happened to you. And, at least you enjoy. And then I asked him, I'm just teasing him. And in fact, you look happy for what happened to you. So it's just like, we're just making fun about, what happened to him. So that's the reason why, guys, I said that, don't fall for that unless you've been talking for many years, and because some, of course, man, that woman is, is serious to you. You can tell, okay? But for the short time of period, guys, don't really feel that you trust. Okay, don't trust, especially for Western people. Okay, and never tells the girl that you have this money or what. Never keep that on yourself, because all the good things that this Filipina or some women, they will show to you how they will take her, because they know that they can get something from you. If not, they're gonna leave you. That's why there's a lot of Western people in Cebu City end up broke and go to the street begging for their for their food. Okay, they came here, they sell everything, and they end up broke. That's the sad story, guys. So that's the reason why, if you're married, if you're married to a Filipina, okay, I'm gonna specific this to a Filipina. It's up to you, guys, okay? If you have an agreement, so especially you can see that your wife has no potential to manage the money, especially you're the only who who bring money, okay, not her, because sometimes a homemaker is not easy also, but if she has a potential, then that's the time that you have to sit down together and share this and teach. Okay, like I always say this, that in marriage life, it's a teamwork. Okay, if the man has more knowledge with their wife, you must educate your wife. You have to educate your wife. Same thing, helping one another. So if your wife has more education than the husband, the wife should must educate your husband, because that's, that's part of marriage life. There's a teamwork, okay? So, so for those not okay, I don't really care about that. You just give, you just give allowance to your wife. Also, you tolerated your wife not to deal with the money. You tolerated her to spend that money, because some women, okay, I'm gonna spend it, so why should I save this? Because they used to every month or every week they have money from you, so they don't really have that, because they not work for that. They are not work for that money. Okay, so any one of you, once you work that money, you gonna spend that wisely. You don't spend like crazy. So once you work for that money, you really value the money that you have. But for those husbands, you give allowance to them because you don't want that at the end they're gonna overspend money, your money. Actually, it's our money. It's not yours. It's not her money. It's ours. So that's one thing, guys, that I have friends that I invite, to come over here, because that time we're same place. We're living in Kampagong Diwa. It's a police camp, and then I was single the time, and same thing. So it's been a long time that I found her in Facebook, and I invite her to come, and she already have teenager daughter. And this is so funny. After we discuss about what's going on in our lives that time, and then in the presence, and she asked me, "Is your husband give you allowance?" And I was shocked, because I never think that my husband will give me allowance. And I told her, "Seriously? You asked that if my husband gave me allowance?" And I told her, "No, he never gave me allowance." But I told her, "Wait, let me explain this why I say no. Because all the money that he has, we have here in the Philippines, we're joint account. So I don't really go on his money in the States, okay? Because that time we're not married, but still I have access for that. But it does he share that money for me, okay? But here, our money here in the Philippines, we're joint, okay? And then I told her that no, we don't do that. We don't have that agreement, and I don't like also. So we have an agreement, and we talk. Me and Frank, we're very often to talk about money, because the money, I don't have money in my, it's not I don't have money on my wallet. I have money. So all the dollar bills I have in my wallet, because that's my collection. I have $1, I have $2, $5, $10, $20, 50, and 100. So all the dollars paper bill, I have that, because that's my collection. That's in my wallet. And then I also have, I call that emergency money. I just put like 300 pesos there in my 300 pesos in my wallet. That's my emergency money, because if something happened, like the car suddenly stop, so I can able to ride on the taxi or jeepney to back home, to tell Frank, oh, the car is not working or what. That's emergency. So the money there, every month we go to the bank, the money after we deal all the bills, the leftover money, and then we have amount that we're gonna save this every month. This is the amount for for the food, This is the amount for our bills. I organize everything that I'm in charge of that. Okay, food, but I'm still on the the quality, the brand of the food, the drinks, kind of food. I'm still stick on that because that's the product that we love. But when it comes dealing money, I'm the one in charge. Frank is the one who bring money in this house. I'm the one in charge, to deal with that. So we have savings for that. We're often, to talk about that. Excuse me. And then the money is, we have certain place that the money is there. Okay, he don't put money in his wallet. I don't put money except the emergency emergency money. So the money is there. Okay, and I always, when I buy something, even in the wet market, farmers market, I always ask, the receipt, so that by the time that, okay, we're gonna, almost, it's almost end of the month. Okay, we're gonna talk about this, how much money will left over, because that, like example, that money for the month of March, it's at the budget for the month of April, so that our savings every month, it gonna be additional for our savings. So that's how I manage the money here. So it's not the thing that I receive. I can buy whatever I want in the store when I do shopping, but it's just like, I think that's the reason why we save a lot of money for that, because I'm not the type of person, I buy something that I want. No, I'm not that. I buy something that I need. So I'm not really into the buy something like jewelries. I have jewelries when I was single, okay? So that's jewelry that I bought. I'm good with that. I don't need to buy big diamonds, big gold chain. No, I'm good with that. Okay? So I don't need to compete with other women that what they have. So I don't need to buy a signature brand of purse or what. I don't need to buy a signature kinds of clothes. It's the way how you handle yourself. Okay? I buy clothes online. Sometimes if there's if summers there's a sales in SM or other mall. So I'm not so the only thing, the only stuff that I spend more money, my shoes. Okay? I spend about over $100 for my gym shoes. And well, how much the because I have a dress shoes, okay, dress shoes. So Frank, we noticed that before we get married, so I still have that dress shoes. So that dress shoes is made of China. It's not real leather. It's leather. So when I found out, oh my God, it starts to feel off, and I end up throwing because I can't use it because it's busted. So he asked me, there's a floor shame, American brand. It's all leather. You know that it's kind of a pricey brand of shoes. And that's the only thing that I heard, I got, and then he said, you don't need, from now on, you don't need to buy, kind of leather shoes because it's not worth it, the price that you bought for that. So he decided to bring me to, and then I have Italian shoes. And I really like it because, it's soft on my feet and I don't have sore, and until now it's still good. I don't see the peel off, because it's real leather. So he spent about 150 for that, and the other one, it's kind of the floor shame, the dress shoes. I he bought that 11,000 pesos, but it's not as but I like it because how many years that is still good. How many that in dollars? So I'm not really the type of person. And then, I prepare to go groceries because I enjoy buying food. When I open my freezer, it's full of meat, full of sausage, ham. When I check my other refrigerator, it's full of, milk, cheese, uh, other, barbecue sauce, anything, eggs. When I open my cabinet, full of canned foods, okay? I have so many stuff. So way back during the lockdown here in the Philippines, totally lockdown, I don't have that hard time because I'm very, I'm very grateful that Frank let me manage the stuff. Okay, he's the one who bring money here, but when it comes to that cooking, buy something, I'm the one in charge. So I don't really feel that, oh, I need the allowance because, my husband don't give money, I have no access on the money. Yes, I have all access of the money. And in fact, he's the one who, look at my hair. And then he said that, oh, it's time for you to go to, to the hair salon. No, I don't. Because I'm gonna, I have a long hair. I'm gonna spend about, a good treatment for my hair. I'm gonna spend about $100, guys. Oh my goodness, that's a big amount of money. So why should I, give that to the hair salon? So I'm gonna do that for myself. Okay. So I'm very patient when I do. I put some oil, coconut oil, aloe vera. Because I don't want that. I don't want that money to spend for that. That's too much for me. So I refuse that. Frank always tells me, you're the only person that, when I offer go to the beauty salon, to fix, to do hair done, you're the one who always refuse. For what? I have a good hair. I don't need to compete. I have a good hair. I take care of my hair. So that's the reason why, guys, that I cannot blame other Western men that they gonna give, they gonna give allowance to their wife because of that. So if it's according, it's according how how you deal with your money with your wife. So some wife are, are like me. Okay, so that's a good thing that, you don't have a problem for that. But sometimes, like I said, that beware of picking Filipino living in the countryside, because if the problem is not your wife, the problem is their family. Because some of their family, they don't really think that. Of course, you work hard, guys. If there's if there's a chance that you can able for overtime, you do that. Especially you're planning to visit your wife. Yeah, your wife here in the Philippines, because not all process their green card. Okay, 'cause especially now, it's no longer safe for Asian women in the States because of what President Donald Trump policy when it comes to immigration. So it's kind of, you cannot really base on just to merit. It's kind of you have to start picking the person. It's kind of a complicated because we cannot really go into that process for that allowance, because if you pick the right woman, you don't have to give her allowance, especially if you're married. That's your wife. Wife is wife, not a kid, not your kid. Okay, so that's it's kind of a complicated, guys, if you're gonna go onto that money allowance or what. So you have to pick from the start. You build a relationship with your wife, you have to know her first. And that's the reason why, guys, why some Western women deal married to a Filipina. Some is just like First year, 2 years, the marriage was so amazing. And then after that, they end up, if the wife abandoned their husband because they have no money, he end up broke because of that situation, or the husband find another woman. So that's kind of a thing that it's too complicated for me, huh? So from the start, find the right person, because okay, if you pick the right person, you don't have a miserable marriage life. Okay, you have a happy marriage, because I don't believe that they're saying happy home, happy home, happy wife. No, of course, husband deserve also happiness. Okay, deserve also peace. So in my saying is happy home, happy spouse. Okay, not wife. So makes sense, guys, because you're couple, you're spouse. So you don't you don't need to specific to the wife. Is the wife also that has the right to feel happy? Of course, the husband. In fact, the husband is more happier than wife, because they're the one who go out every day, provide for his family, and that sometimes it's really hurt, because once their children finish college, and first thing that they mention is their mother, supposedly the dad and mom, always always the dad first before the mother. Okay, I'm not saying that you don't respect, but you have more credit with your dad for saying thank you, especially for those children that they're successful in life. Without your dad, you cannot have that unless you born with no dad. Yeah, everyone needs to live on a monthly budget. Yes. Like I always say this, buy things that you need. Don't buy things that you want. You're going to end up save all your monies in your wallet, or money, or your credit card. You're going to end up a lot of debts for that. So the final is, it's up to you guys. It's up to you. I don't really disagree with that. It's up to the men, especially for the men that you have you have in control about the money, and you can see that your wife has no has no skill for dealing, or to manage your money. There's nothing wrong about that, because you're in control about that. So if you think that your wife has no potential to manage the income, the family income, okay, don't. So there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong to give their allowance, because you're still in control. But in the other side, people will think that it's not right, to a wife to give an allowance. So for me, it's just like, I also have that sympathy for those husband giving their wife an allowance. So because you don't want to uh spend your money for nothing, for just for the just like the luxurious of your wife. You don't need that, especially if you're the one who bring money. So you have that right to control that. Okay, because some women, oh, no, 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 they just they just really want to spend the husband's money. And then if at the end of the day the husband become broke, they're gonna leave. That's the reality of life, especially in the West. If you no longer if you no longer capacity, if you have no capacity to support or to give money to your wife, they're gonna divorce you, right? Who's that money gonna stay on your side that you're nothing, you're broke? They don't. Might here in the Philippines, yeah, Filipino will do that, will gonna stick on your side. But in the West, big no. I'm not saying all, but majority. Especially for young couple, por Dios por santo. So that's the best thing that you can do when you when you, especially for those single, young single, okay? Find the right person, okay? And much better if you pick educated, because when you deal with it money, it's easy for them to understand why you say that, why you do that, okay? But for those not really, less education, it takes a lot of explanation before they get what you really want to tell them. All right? So I'm not putting down of those people. But that makes sense that you have to find. And then once you have to sit down and talk about when it comes to money, because one of the factor why some couple they get separated because of the money, because they don't really talk about how to deal with the money, how to manage the money. Majority of the problem is it comes to money because they are not really they are the consumer. The consumer. Yeah, that's it makes sense, guys, that you always talk. It's not There's nothing wrong to talk about money, okay? Especially that you really look out for your future together, the future of your children. So you don't really talk about the future of your sister or what. Talk about your future together, and if you have children, talk about the future of the children by managing your money, guys. Like me, okay, if I do something like if I do have some, like I want to um um blew out or treat my sisters, my nephew, or my niece. I have some of my followers, if if they're said that if I ask them if they can able to sponsor for that, if they want to sponsor for that kind of events, then that's a good deal. But if they are not, if they cannot really show to you, then you don't have to. Okay, so that's the other option, that you can save money for that, for those people that willing to sponsor about the events that you want to hold. So you don't have to ask, you don't have to ask to force to force them, to give that to you. Okay. Just, just offer. If they have, if they have willingness, to sponsor that, then thank to them. Okay, you don't have to. But sometimes, I when I do that, okay, I have to, I have to send this, if that person can able to sponsor me. But sometimes I realize, wait a minute, I asked too much. Okay, so I have that kind of mentality that, wait a minute, I have to think. But okay, so I'm gonna refuse. Okay, forget it. What I ask. Okay, because sometimes it's not really, it's not really nice to hear that. But it's just like there's nothing wrong for those people that you offer that kind of sponsorship. If they willing to sponsor the events that you want to hold with your family, then it's okay. But sometimes me, I have to realize, oh, wait a minute, it's not right. So I have to, sit back and say, okay, you know, uh, no need. Because, of course, I still remember that thing that, especially for those Western people, yeah, I know that you work hard for that, guys. You work hard for that. I love money, but sometimes I realize that no, you don't have to, you don't have to do that to other people, even though that you have a kindness heart, to do that. But sometimes I have to refuse for that. Okay, because I'll always remember that you work hard for that. Okay, and you have also family, to support for that. But in the other hand, if they somebody will take that kind of invitation for the sponsorship, yeah, fine for me. But if not, no big deal, no big deal. Our advice is to save your money to make investment and spend the money that the investment make for you. Yes, that's true. So there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong, to control money to give, to give. It's according your wife, how your wife act, how your wife treated your money, guys. So if your wife is not really into that savings money, you can see that her personality is just like to spend, hang around with, with their friends or what. Yes, you have the right to control that. You have the right to give her allowance. Okay, but you have a good thing. You always talk about the money like us. No, I don't need Frank to give me allowance for that. Okay? So it's according your agreement, it's according how you manage your marriage life. Okay, so it's just like any of you, like, not only for men, okay, not only for husband, for wife also, because here in the Philippines, that's very common, guys, that if the wife working, the husband who will take care of the children. Okay, so if your husband take care of the children, you don't have to give your husband an allowance, okay? Share your money to him, because, like, if you're gonna hire somebody. Oh, hold on, guys. I, hold on. I'm low battery. Because here, I'm gonna read you about, excuse me. Hello, Ryan. How are you, brother? So I'm gonna share with you guys, the question is a husband obligated to give his wife an allowance? That's a big question. In the Philippines, okay, for those Western people, I'm gonna share this with you guys. I'm doing good. In the Philippines, a husband is not legally obligated to give his wife specific allowance. Okay? But both spouses have a mutual legal duty to support each other and the family under the Family Code of the Philippines Executive Order number 209 as amended. Okay, so that's the law here in the Philippines. So that's the reason why, guys, if you're married to a Filipina, that kind of law that, it's kind of a on her side only. Okay, but not in the western side. So here I'm gonna read this. So key legal provisions is Article 68. Spouse must live together, show mutual love, respect, and fidelity, and provide each other help and support, which includes financial aspects. So there's so many article that I gonna read this. This is the Family Code of the Philippines Executive Order number 209. So I'm gonna read the three article, okay? So Article 70, both spouses share responsibility for their family support, covering sustenance, shelter, clothing, medical care, education, transportation, based on the family financial capacity. And the third article for the Family Code of the Philippines, okay, Article 195 or 195, 195, okay. Spouses among the primary individuals required to support each other. That's the Philippine Family Code here, but in the West, it's not. Okay, is that the same also? Family Code in the West? No. And that's the reason why, yeah, true. You gave your allowance to your kids, not your wife. Your wife is not your kid. She's your wife, not your kid. So any question, guys? So no questions, so I will not stay long here. So I really appreciate your time to come with me. And next time we're gonna talk more than that. So it's just um, a good topic that we can explain to other people that your wife don't need allowance. Okay, your kids need allowance for that. So thank you so much, guys. So see you next time. So um I would like also to thank for my generous donators and my people, Mr. M. Thank you so much for that. So guys, in the charge in PayPal, they increase also. My goodness. So everything is effective of war. So before this, just like, just a little, a little amount, but they're gonna. So that's everyone wants to get more money from other people. So anyway, guys, thank you so much and have a good day to everyone. Bye. Mwah.